Hello beautiful people, welcome to Ray's World. My name is Ray and I just want to share a really quick thought with you guys. So I want to remind you that God has amazing things for you, and you might be going through a really hard time at the moment. You might be feeling really distant from God. You might be feeling like God hasn't got anything for your future. You might be feeling really hopeless, and I just want to say now is a time to go over the prophetic words that you have and the promises that God has for you through the word of God. And if you don't have any prophetic words, that's fine. There are plenty of promises in the Bible that you can go over. I just want to read this from my journal. This was from 2 years ago and I wrote this down, and I just want to share this with you. So, hardships. When you're in a battle, remind yourself of the words and promises and prophetic words God has spoken over your life. The prophetic declarations that are spoken over your life will become one of the greatest weapons when going through spiritual battles. The battles we go through give us strength, and there is a process in receiving God's promises. Between the promise and the palace, there is a process, and there is a fight for the promised land. Guys, you are in a journey, okay, and you might be in this process right now, and it might be feeling like an absolute slog, just like the Israelites when they were on their way to the promised land. God had promised this place, this perfect, beautiful place for them, and it took them years to get there. And you might be feeling like that right now. You might be feeling like you're in a slog and you don't believe the words that have been spoken over your life. You don't believe that you could ever get the dreams that are on your heart that God's put on there. But God is all about journey. He loves journey, and he builds character during the process. And I want to just really say, guys, make time in your life when you're feeling that hardship, and it's really important that in those moments you listen to your prophetic words, you go over God's promises and you declare them. And I just want to encourage you in this, because I've been thinking how thankful I am that I've got prophetic words. So when someone, obviously we have to test prophecy, the word of God tells us to test prophecy, but when someone gives me a prophetic word, I get my phone out, I'm like, wait a second, I get my phone out, I press record and I give it to them. If the prophetic word makes me feel weird, I'll just chuck it away, and I won't. But if that prophetic word resonates and speaks right into my life, I'll keep that voice recording, and I will go over those words on the days where I feel like I need to go over them. And I'm telling you guys, before I got into this youth pastor job, God had spoke, like, you already know this, I've let you in a lot on my process with that. But before so God told me I was going to get this job, and he prepared me for it, and I went in and I just wasn't getting the job. I wasn't getting it, and for 6 months I was playing over prophetic words that I'd got about youth ministry over and over and over again. And there were days where I wanted to give up, I wanted to move away, and I just thought, God, this isn't happening, like, what are you doing? I don't understand. And I would listen to those words and they would keep me going. The faith would arise and I would feel God's presence. I'd be like, yes, this is the vision, God, you're saying this, and it was those prophetic words that really, really kept me focused on what God was saying. So write down your prophetic words. When God speaks to you about things, journal it, write it down, record it, write down God's promises, write down those Bible verses and claim them for yours, and declare them over your life when you're going through hard times. I promise you, it is one of the most important things you could do during spiritual battles, because remember, guys, we're in a spiritual war. Sometimes that war can be in our minds, and we need to remind ourselves of God's truth, and it's so important. I've actually got a whole journal that is just for prophetic words in my life, and if someone tells me a prophetic word, I'll write them down. You might not be in a prophetic culture, that's okay. I'd encourage you to eagerly desire the gifts of the Spirit, like the Bible tells us to, because prophecy is one of the most amazing gifts. It's one of my favourite things, so definitely pursue that in your life, even if you're not in that culture. There's plenty of content online, and read the Word of God, spend time with God, and seek Him on those things. And yes, I think that's basically everything. And I will see you next week. Mwah.